Arsenal sit top of the table after 16 rounds of action ahead of the weekend's clash away to Everton. But there's been a few things called into question of late with the Gunners as to how well they are dealing with the title pressure and whether they're feeling that pressure right now. It feels that at any point now, any small slip-up could immediately cost them, Stevie. So why is this the case right now?
Do you know, it's really tough to put your finger on the problem that they're having right now.
Because it's there, isn't it? We can feel it. We can feel a bit of tension.
Yeah, and if we can feel it, then you know that they're thinking about it. And I've said previously that I think the key to this is the manager. It's how the manager reacts and how the manager is day to day. It's not about turning up the day of the game and getting things right. It's about what happens during the week. And the manager, in my opinion, is the key to it all. He has to have the demeanour of, we just do what we do. We do our week's training, regardless of the opposition. Yes, we have two or three little things we need to keep an eye on, but this is about us. This is about what we do. You know, you're going around Saka, you tell him you do what you do, and you basically go around and do all the things that you've done the whole season when you were top of the league, and everybody's talking about how great you are, how solid you are, how much you're going to go and score more goals. And that's how you go about it. Every single game just becomes a focus. If the manager starts thinking about what's going on around, then he's the one that loses his focus. And if he loses it, then the dominoes will crumble because the players will start feeling it and they'll see it. And they'll start thinking about what's going on behind them. And when you do that, that's when you slip up.
Because you can say they're still leading the chase. And for their point, he could be saying to them, even though we are feeling a bit of this tension right now, we do still sit top, just.
Look, it's a long season, a long, long season. Arsenal were not going to stay at this level the whole season. There were going to be moments in which things were not going to be nearly as straightforward, nearly as easy. So if I'm Arsenal and I'm Mikel Arteta, I'm thinking, well, I'm glad that it's happening now and that we're not having this collapse much later in the season where we don't have time to recover. And I say recover when this is a team that is actually leading the league. So it's almost as if, and I know that because of the performances they've had over the last couple of weeks, that we may think, oh, it seems like they're fading. And yet they're still up there. And that would be my message. Hey, we're not playing at our best. We're not achieving our potential, and yet we're better than most in this league. So begin to trust all the things that Stevie just talked about. Begin to trust the things that you do well individually. Begin to trust the things that have made us the teams that we are. And Stevie is absolutely right. You just spread the message and allow that message to then take over the locker room. But my message would also be one of, listen, we're not going to be perfect. Things are going to happen. And what matters is how we react from some of the challenges that are in front of us. And in fact, I would add on to that and say something, everybody out there, they're expecting us to fail. They're looking at each and every one of us, and including me as the manager, and thinking that we don't have it. And I'll say, you have it, and you have it, and you have it, I have it, we have it together. They can say whatever they want, but what matters is what we have in here. And I would keep that in-house, everything about us against everybody. You unite the message, you unite the team, and you get your team playing at a level that you think is going to be enough for you to win this thing. They're still up in the league. They're still leading. I don't think this is an issue for Arsenal, nor a time to panic. Panic if we're reaching April and now you have this some sort of collapse. That's when because you have no time to make up for it.
Bunker mentality.
Yeah?
Bunker mentality. You're talking there, I'm thinking about it. And that's absolutely what it is. Because the bunker mentality means that you're not listening to a word that's going on outside. It's all about in there. And when it's all in there, what happens outside doesn't affect you. That's exactly what they need.
Something that's been going on outside. There's a lot of talk about Victor Gyökeres, and Mikel Arteta has been defending his striker this week.
He had no pre-season. The first few weeks was difficult because physically he wasn't in his best state, and he's a player that needs that like any other player in this league almost to perform at that level. Then he kicked on. I think he had a really good period and he got injured. And now he's back to his bed. I saw a lot of positive things in the last two games that he's done. We need to continue to tweak and understand him a little bit better in certain situations, and he needs to do the same. But that's about time, and we have full support for him.
We take a look at his numbers, and obviously Arteta did mention the injury that Victor Gyökeres has had to come back from already this season, and you're seeing a before and after with that injury. What's your thoughts on what we're seeing from the player right now and what Arteta had to say, Stevie?
I absolutely agree with Arteta. I'm not so sure about the first bit about he wasn't 100% fit and physical, all that stuff. I think the important thing is that he didn't start on fire as certainly Arsenal and Arteta hoped, but there's no question he did come onto some form and some goals. And so he's already shown that he can do that, Gyökeres, in this league. He's unfortunate he got injured. I'm 100% in that part with Arteta. He couldn't have picked a worse time to get injured just when he'd got through that barren spell and was beginning to look like Arsenal's centre forward. But he's been through it. He knows he can come through the other end, so he needs to do it.
So I think fans of Arsenal need to be very careful about watching a guy like Nicol Merino score goals and then think, well, we don't need Gyökeres then. No, because why don't we just play Merino and then he'll be the one scoring the goals and we will be good. I think Victor Gyökeres gives this team a different dimension in the attack, a different look. And so if he is at his best and he is physically fit and confident in front of goal, I think this team is better because of it. So don't fall into the trap that because Nicol Merino has scored a goal here and there, you kind of go, well, that should be the guy who should be playing striker. If Arsenal are going to be at their best and are going to achieve the things that they want to achieve, I believe that Victor Gyökeres gives them a better opportunity than anybody else playing the center forward position. Nicol Merino can do a job, and he's a guy that has done a great job. But it's not the answer in terms of those games that are really tense, those games that you need something special, something different, something inside the 18-yard box, that you need a goal scorer, the goal scorer that they've been looking for, and that's what Gyökeres is supposed to be. You need him to be at his best because he may just be the difference between you winning the league, you winning Champions League, you winning whatever it is that you want to win because you have an actual striker that can get a final touch on the ball. So don't fall into the trap of just saying we don't need him. You need him, and you need him at his best.
Yeah, because meanwhile, in the background, Manchester City are just 2 points behind them in the table. There's obviously still room to grow for Pep Guardiola's men. They're not playing at the best, and they're still just 2 points behind Arsenal. I suppose the concern here, Stevie, is that they've ridden these storms before. Arsenal haven't.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest, if you had a choice right now, who would you rather your manager was? If you're a player, would you rather have Pep or would you rather have Arteta? I don't think anybody's taking Arteta. You absolutely are taking Pep because he's been through it. He knows what it takes. He knows the signs. He sees the signs. He can smell it. You know, when you're coaching a team, you can smell when things are going well and when things are maybe teetering a little bit. And so he's able to make adjustments that stop that happening. He's able to make little adjustments, little changes, whether it's his tactics or whether it's his personnel, that keeps us a side on there, because that's where they are right now. City are on a level and they're staying on it, whereas Arsenal are the opposite. We're not 100% sure exactly what we're going to get right now, and we're not 100% sure what Arteta's telling them. Is he doing what Guardiola's doing? Well, clearly not. Otherwise, they wouldn't be going through these little troubles that they are. So, yeah, absolutely. City are the danger for Arsenal, no question.
And we've seen some of the other players stepping up, but fact is, Erling Haaland is having a sensational season so far, LA.
Well, if the conversation I just had there about Victor Gyökeres is a conversation that you can have about Manchester City and Erling Haaland. And that's why, if you're an Arsenal fan, you want Gyökeres at his best. Because you see what Erling Haaland is doing and you go, well, we do not have that. And frankly, you think about players that are going to get you a goal. Who else in the world comes to mind other than Erling Haaland? You're talking about the very sort of upper tier of strikers here. And we're talking about a handful of players that you go, the moment this big, strapping, young, blonde Viking walks on the field, you know he's going to score. You know he's going to score. And that certainty, it allows you to play the game from a different perspective when you're Manchester City. That confidence that you know this guy is going to score. It frees up, or theoretically, at least it should free up everybody else. And we saw some of that last weekend in the service from Mateus Nunes, who just decided, you know what, I'm just going to swing a ball in. I'm going to swing a ball in and let this guy go and get it. And he did. I don't think, in fact, I know that there aren't many teams, not just in the Premier League, but around the world, that can have that certainty about their striker. Erling Haaland gives you that certainty that Arsenal are searching with Gyökeres.
I think there's one question that we all had early in the season was, if Haaland doesn't score, who's going to score? Well, I think this run that City have put together, we've seen who's going to score. You got Foden, who looks back to his best, sneakily. You know, Reinders is scoring, Cherky's scoring last weekend, Doku was scoring a couple of weeks ago as well. So that question has been put to bed. Again, I don't think right now, as we speak, we can say that about too many Arsenal players.
But the question that you can ask about Manchester City is who's playing outside back. And do they have enough in defensive transition moments through the midfield?
That's not true.
And that, it's a part that they can certainly be exposed. And it's not just me saying it. You just watch them play and you go, ay, mama, who's defending out there and who's defending up here?